You're ready?
Yeah.
So maybe you can start by telling us your name and which community you're from.
My name is Lena. I'm from Inuvik, Northwest Territories.
And we're here at the Northern Games. Can you tell us how you got involved with the Northern Games Society?
I got involved, oh my God. Well, I've been involved through work. And first of all, I've been involved with my nanak and my dadak Bertha and Billy Rubin years ago. When they had the first Northern Games, it was in 1970, and we were living in Cape Perry. It's a Dewline site. And the only way that we could listen to the Northern Games was through radio. So we lived with, beside the Greens, like Samuel and Marion Green. And so we'd all go and listen to radio at their house. So the radio would be on, and next thing they're doing the opening. Lois Keating's on the CBC radio, and they start off with "Oh Canada." So we're just listening to it, and next thing, Doubt the Green, she's telling all of us, "Okay, all of you stand up and sing "Oh Canada." So all of us had to get up and start singing "Oh Canada," and then after that we'd start listening to the games. And back then, my nanak and dadak, Billy and Bertha Rubin, were participating in the traditional games like tea boiling, bannock making, seal skinning, all that. And we'd mainly be listening for their names, and every day it'll be like a competition between Bertha Rubin and Jane Charlie. Anyways, we'd be praying and hoping that our nanak would be winning. And so we really paid close attention to those two because they were so close. They were like neck and neck with all the competition because both of them were, I realize now that both of them were the matriarchs of the Gutchin and Innivallery in their communities then. So every day we'd be listening for the results, like just waiting till next day, same thing. Every time "Oh Canada" went on, we all had to stand up and sing. Well, and we're listening to the radio in Cape Perry. Anyways, as a young child, I really went into cross-country skiing too, and that's where I met Lorraine Bullock, and she was from Inuvik, but she is still a beautiful lady. She's went into the princess contest, and back then she wore her dress with beads, and she had a headband. Like it was all described to us by the radio. Okay, her headband was made out of beads, and I was just wishing she would win because I knew her. Like I reckon I knew her name, I knew her skiing, and I was thinking, I hope she wins because she's such a beautiful lady and a kind person too back then. So she ended up winning, and I was like, oh, that made me really happy. But throughout the games, there was my dadak Billy. He was competing in the men's traditional games too, and so I'm not sure if she won or not, but every time I listened to the radio, they won something. But both of the ladies were just neck and neck trying to get the honor of the good woman and the good man, my dad. So it happened from when I was like 10 And every time they had the Northern Games, we'd always be in Cape Perry in the summertime. So we always listened to them in the radio. But for now, the traditional games are so unique because it challenges all your skills and when you're out in the land. And like for example, yesterday we had the tea boiling and bannock making, and they had the seal skinning a couple of days ago, and some other traditional games that were held here, and so enjoyable because what they did was they had everyone from each age category compete as a team. So there'd be 10 to 14, 15 to 19 to 18, 19 to 30, and an elder. So I was happy to be asked to join the Politic team seal skinning. And so before the competition, we'd be all like, you know, trying to, okay, you do this and you do this. And I ended up doing the flushing, and I haven't flushed for many years. So when we started, I was thinking, oh, I'm so clumsy, I'm probably gonna cut myself. But as we started, it just came back like, you know, how you flush, how you're supposed to flush. Then we had one of them cutting the seal, like the head and the tail, the flipper, they cut around the flipper. And then we had another person doing the cutting up the whole seal, like taking the skin off. And I did the flushing. And then another youth came and went and washed the seal, brought it back, and then they had to stretch it to make it look like a seal. And so that was fun. There was, I don't know how many teams entered, but there was quite a few. And then yesterday we had the tea boiling, and we had 5 to our team, and we had 2 youth, 10 to 14, and we had one that was, well, actually, I'll give you the names. There was my grandson, Jacob Kudakak. He came from Yellowknife to compete at the games. And then we got another young lady from Aklavik. Her name is, gee, I forget her first name because it's so like you meet so many young children, but her last name was McLeod. And then we had another 14 to 18. His name was somebody Cruz. And then they got Colton Gordon Rubin to join us at 19 and over, and then myself as the elder. So before the competition, we're just like, you do this, and then we're all, you know, we all had our own little thing to do. And it was really nice because you could see the youth just excited and wanting to learn and also to, you know, win that. So we ended up finishing our bannock first and our tea, but we forgot to wait for the tea to see how much bags you put in. So we didn't know how much bags you put in there. But they did the tasting of the bread, and we came in first, so that was good. So after the competition, myself and the little Miss McLeod from McLavick, we continued making the rest of our bannock and giving out to people, and she was just proud to give them out, and I was so happy for her because she was really involved, and just to see the smile in their eyes and, you know, wanting to help and wanting to compete, that part of the games, I think it's just meeting people from different communities and interacting with them by using the traditional games like that. Like each team was from a different community, sort of. So I think that really brought the athletes together. And so I think that Good Woman is a game where they show off, not show off, but they show their skills in the traditional, their traditional way, like tea boiling, bannock making, seal skinning, muskrat skinning. And I really believe that how they got this together was because that's how you have to live off the land. You learn to be warm, so you have to make a fire, and then you learn to harvest your food, so you get the animals, and so it's. I'm glad that they really showcase that because, like our culture, still lives on. And when I think of the Good Woman and Good Man event, that would bring me back to 1970 when we were listening to it on the radio, and it was so, I think it was so inspirational back then that it carried through to like today. And I'm just happy to be part of it. That's what the Good Man and Good Woman depicts the event. Yeah.
You talked a bit about how the Good Man, Good Woman events come from this living life on the land.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how the Northern Games relate to living on the land?
Well, living on the land with the traditional games like seal skinning and muskrat skinning, tea boiling, tea making, bannock making, like all those are the skills that you need to survive on the land. And then when you look at the Inuit games, they show all the strength, like the muskapul. That's a really hard event to do because you use all your muscle and all your weight to push the other person out of the circle. And then you have the 1 foot high kick that just shows the agility a person has to reach, like, reach for their best. And you have there's so many different events that they have that just showcases the strength, your agility, like at times your body hurts when you do the event, but it's just part of surviving on the land as well, but showing your strength and your agility to jump and your agility to even do the kneel jump. Like that's a sign of your agility, strength, and overall, it's just like an overall person of how you are on the land. Yeah. Sometimes you have to be really mindful of your environment. Like if you see a bear coming, your gun's in the sled, you're going to have to be really fast, like right now. So some of the games are like fast, and it makes you jump high. It makes you, like for example, with the bench reach, you have to use your muscle, your inner stomach muscle. So you have to really stretch as far as you can. And then sometimes when you're trying to get an animal, you have to stretch as far as you can to actually get the animal. So a lot of the games mimic the actual skill that you need out in the land. Yeah.
Sometimes the elders talk about how the land is a little bit different now than it was when they were young. Do
Yeah.
you think that the Northern Games can help young people to adapt to those changes?
Um, well, for now they have so many events that they could participate in, like through the schools. They have the regional. I can't get that activity that they do, but they get everybody from the smaller communities within the Beaufort Delta to compete together, and all the sports are the Northern Games. They compete in the 1 foot high kick, 2 foot high kick, um, and a few more other events. So the from the regional games, we all go to the Dene and Inuit games in Yellowknife. So they also have the Dene games at the regional level as well. So Dene and Northern Games, they competition for both to the youth that are going to school and of a certain age. And then the best ones, they go to Yellowknife to compete. And same thing, same format. They do the Inuit, the Northern Games, and the Dene Games. And then they also have the Arctic Winter Games to look forward to. And I think right now with the NAG Games, they're demonstration sports so far. Hopefully they'll be able to compete, and then we'll be able to send our children to actually go to a event where they're able to get medals. And then now we're with the Canada Winter Games. We did a demonstration, might be 10 years ago, maybe a little bit less. But back then, our games too were just demonstrations at the Canada Winter Games. And but what the sponsors did, they sponsored the event, and they got athletes from Northwest Territories, Nunavut, and Yukon. So each event they had, they gave a bursary of $2,500, and that went out to any schooling or whatever they wanted to do to better themselves educational wise. But each event at the Canada Winter Games were the top male and female were given $2,500 bursary for their education, which was a really excellent way to promote education. So, and that went really well because there was a lot of people that attended the events and watched. So it's like it's getting there. And just recently they had Edward Lenny was inducted to the Hall of Fame, Sports Hall of Fame, and that's given the sport a lot of recognition. So at some point they might be thinking that, oh yeah, we should actually give them an event that they can compete in, like basketball, volleyball, sports like that. So that's one of our hopes for the Northern Game Society is to have the Northern Games in a broader competition area.
And what does it mean to you to be a good woman?
For me, I think to be a good woman, you have to have the ability to have the skills to keep your family well fed, well clothed. Um, you have to be able to use skills that you have learned from your parents or your grandparents or your in-laws to survive out on the land, and show some integrity, I would say, be a good sport and be willing to help others without, just competing for yourself. You have to help others during the whole entire games. I think the games are so unique because it shows you're not competing to just win. You're competing, and when you see somebody that's not doing too good and they need some help, you go to them and you help them. You help them achieve the finishing off the event. So I think there's 3 areas that you have to be a good woman in. And it's to survive on the land, be able to let your family eat, be able to keep your family warm by learning how to sew using the animals that your husband brings back home, and you could, like with the seal skinning, we watch, flush your seals, dry them up, and after that you tan them. After you tan the seals, you make a pair of shoes, stuff like that. So, and another big part is you have to be able to, learn other people how to do what you learn. Because if you keep it on your own, our culture will die. So learning other people how to cook or how to sew.
Man, oh man, wouldn't have this without Howie McLeod, man.
That's my sense of what a good woman is. And also to be able to help your community.
I wouldn't be possible without Junior.
Yeah. To be able to help your community, to have a strong, vibrant community. Yeah.
What do you see as the future of the Northern Games?
I think the future looks really promising. It's always promising because it always gets better. It always does.
Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. I could keep asking you questions all day, but I don't want to take too much of your time.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing.
Happy to share what I saw growing up as a child and how it is today. It's so beautiful because right now you're seeing people from different communities and they're just happy to see each other because they haven't seen them for a long time. And that's another part of the games, is being able to visit your friends, being able to learn to have new friends and lifetime. Like, for example, when I was talking to you about the good woman, there was my Nana Bertha Rubin. She's in Iqaluit and she's from Polita. And then you have Jane Charlie, she's Gutchin and she's from McPherson. And they both competed in the same Good Woman event. And when they first met each other was at the games, and they became good friends. And even my later, my Nanak, she passed away first. And after she passed on, my auntie Kathy went to McPherson, and Jane Charlie was still alive then. And, she got a message that Jane Charlie really wants to meet you. She said, okay. So she had to go to her house and she had to meet her. she said when she met her, she said, I just wanted to meet you because your mom was my best friend. You know, like it's just it's so good to hear that kind of stories because the games just bring everybody together, and you have lifelong friendships, and not only from the generation there, but from the next to the next generation. So it's like even my grandson, he's competing now. So my nanak would be the first, my mom's generation, my generation, and now my grandchild. So 4 generations competing. So it's just like a legacy that you're so passionate about that you want to carry it on to the next generation. So I'm hoping that my grandson will do that to his kids too. So that's the kind of environment that you go into when you go to the games. It's so beautiful. Yeah.
Did your Nanak ever talk about her elders playing Northern games?
I think they used to gather in summertime, and they used to gather in Christmas time to do different games together. Yeah. So it's been happening for many years, and some of the events were adopted by like the people from Alaska. Like for example, the Alaskan. That was an event that was adopted by the Alaska people. So, we all share our sports, and we try our best to showcase the ones that really stand out. Yeah.
Why do you think that different regions have different kinds of Northern games?
I think I think it all depends on how imaginative or how people got together to meet at a certain time of year, because at the certain times there were like down times, like winter time, dark, a good time to all come together. And I heard at one place I think it's around Barcy, they used to all meet in Christmas time, and everybody would go there, and it's halfway between here and Inuvik, and there's an island there, right underneath Barcy. There's a big island, and there was so much people that went to that gathering at Christmas that they decided to all hold hands and see if they could go around the island, and they did. So there was quite a few people when you think about it, because that little island is quite big when you look at it. So, they thought of, things like that. Would you ever think of trying to all hold hands to see if you could make it around the island? Like, stuff like that. They're so, they have so much good imagination that, they try to make the impossible possible. Yeah, so that's what I think. It all depends on who you're with and what they could do. Yeah.
I could keep asking you questions, but maybe I noticed your knee. Hey, should I let you go?
No, what's wrong with them?
Oh, I thought you might have been getting sore from sitting there, but
it's just that sun is getting warm. It's nice.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things they want to focus on for the fall magazine, it's going to be all about Northern games. And one of the things I want to focus on is legacy.
Yes.
So when you think about Bertha and her legacy in the Northern Games, do you have any favorite memories or any advice she gave you want to pass on to these young kids?
Well, when I was a young girl, I might have been about maybe 7 or 8, and I had these beautiful pair of pants, and they were made out of silk. And I don't know how I ended up with silk pants, but I ended up with silk pants. And I was doing something, and they ended up having a hole. Oh, I was just like devastated because I just love those pants. And my nana, Bertha, was there, and I went to her and asked her if she could sew for me, because I told her I really like these pants and I want to wear them again. So she said, okay. She started laughing at me, and she sewed them together, and they were almost like brand new. It's just like, oh, I want to do that when I grow up. So I always kept that in mind, because that was a time that I kept that memory, and I always keep it, because she, no hesitation, I'll do it for you. And she did such a good job. I was just like so happy to wear them again. So that's one thing, and I keep in my mind, because I realized later on in life that I had to sew too. And my husband, he's a good hunter, he's a good provider. So whatever he brought into our home, like we brought seals, he'd get the seals, cut it up, and I would flush them. Or he'd get a bear, and he'd cut it up, and then I would flush the bear. And like get geese plucked. Like, I wouldn't say I'm going to pluck them, because he does the plucking when he's out hunting. So I cut them up and make like soup and whatever. And the best time I really enjoy making bread is when we're out camping. Springtime, I just love making bread, because it tastes so good with the geese soup. And that's one thing that I had to learn, because that was our lifestyle. Me and my husband, he's a hunter, and he just loves hunting him. And so I had to learn how to make all kinds of different clothing to match whatever he brought. So sometimes he gets a Wolverine, I have to learn how to flush it, and then dry it up, and then tan it, and then cut the fur. Like, even cutting the fur, you have to have a sort of like a talent to make it look nice, because there's a part for women, a part for men, and and like with the wolf, if it gets a wolf, I have to flush it and then dry it up and tan it, and then make like shoes or mitts. So I think basically you need to learn your culture to survive and to be a good woman at these games. Yeah.
Right on.
That's my thought.
Thank you very much for
Thank
sharing
you.
with us and
Okay.
taking the time to organize for these events. I know
Yes.
it's a lot of work, so
Mhm.
thank you very much for what you've done, and also, while we have you, for making these beautiful atikluks for
Oh.
all of the Northern Games Society members. I can see you're wearing yours.
Well, I can't
and
say I, because me and Billy made them.
you and Billy. Well, they're
Yeah,
just
Billy,
beautiful.
yes.
And it's been so wonderful to see all of these Northern Games Society members walking around wearing all of this beautiful work and
Yeah.
looking very proud.
Yes.
Proud to represent the Northern Games Society.
Yeah, I really like them, because they're useful. They have like the zipper pocket where you could keep whatever you need to keep in your pocket, because when you're at the games, you're quite busy and you just need that somewhere to keep your cell or personal items that you need to use. So I like these. Yeah.
Thank you, Lena.
Awesome.